Hi, my name is Jakob Munck. I'm living here in Copenhagen. I'm a Dane, and I'm going to present you for 7 Danish CIA bullhorns. Here in Denmark, we have a lot of people calling themselves journalists or politicians who are agents, who are stooges of CIA, because Denmark is totally subordinated to America. We don't have any kind of independent policy in our country. Actually, we are not a democracy, not a Danish democracy. We are part of the American democracy. Our whole foreign policy is controlled by the United States, and this can only happen because US, or let's say it plain out, CIA, they have a lot of agents, a lot of followers, a lot of stooges here in Denmark. And I'm going to present you a few of these stooges. And let's start up here with Anders Fogh Rasmussen. Anders Fogh Rasmussen, he was Minister of State from 2001 until 2009 here in Denmark. And he was the one who got Denmark into the war against Iraq. He just promised the Danish voters that Saddam Hussein, he had weapons of mass destruction, biological weapons, maybe even atomic weapons. He repeated it several times. He said, "This is not something I presume, I know it for sure." That is why Denmark went along with America and invaded Iraq. We sent some F-16 fighter jets to Iraq, and we participated in the bombardment and the destroyment of Iraq. And since then, Iraq has been one total chaos and the cradle of a lot of terrorism that hits all over the world, not at least in Europe. And the victims of the terrorist attack in Belgium, in Paris, they can certainly send their thanks to Anders Fogh Rasmussen, because ISIL, who is the main reason for the terrorism nowadays, it was created as an answer to the invasion of Iraq. And Anders Fogh Rasmussen, he was a fanatic idealist, or I should say militarist, or something else, who turned Denmark into a militaristic nation, participating in this very immoral bombing campaign that destroyed another country. There were no weapons of mass destruction in Iraq, but around 1 million people has been killed because of this invasion. And they and their family can thank, among others, Anders Fogh Rasmussen, this CIA bullhorn who was later appointed to General Secretary of NATO, because he was such a huge liar. They had seen that. So the next job he should have was, of course, to be a leader of NATO. And here is a picture of the present Danish Prime Minister. In 1988, he visited Taliban in Pakistan. This is the real picture of Lars Løkke Rasmussen visiting Taliban in Pakistan. He had a lot of money with him and some weapons too, and he gave them to Taliban to help them in their fight against the Russians. That's what he told. But there was actually a government in Afghanistan at that time. But Lars Løkke Rasmussen was told by his employers in the US that he should go and give money to the terrorists, and that is exactly what he did. Nowadays, he tells everyone that he's very much against terrorism. The other day she had a meeting with the Belgian ambassador in Denmark saying that, we have to fight terrorism. You and I and everyone in the world, we must be against terrorism. But I suppose he forgot to mention that Lars Løkke Rasmussen is a terrorist supporter himself. So, of course, he don't do anything by himself. It's only when he got the appointments from America. He's a CIA bullhorn like the other Danish political leaders. And here you have one of the most evil CIA stooges we have in Denmark. Is called Uffe Ellemann-Jensen. He has been foreign minister for 4 times when Poul Schlüter was a leader of our government from 1982 until 1993. And this man here is in the public television very, very often. And he has a very simple analysis of the whole world and of the problems in Syria, in Ukraine, and everywhere. It's all because of Russia. It's all because of Putin. So basically, everything you have to do is to fight against Russia, to fight against Putin. That is the analysis of this man here. I don't know what the reason is, because we have never been in war with Putin or Russia, and Russia has never invaded us. They lost quite a few soldiers in the end of Second World War to liberate Denmark from Nazism. But they shouldn't expect any thank you from Uffe Ellemann-Jensen, because he certainly prefers Adolf Hitler for Vladimir Putin. He likes Nazism and right-wing nationalism much better than anything going on in Russia or any other democratic state. And here we have another former Danish foreign minister called Villy Søvndal. Quite a stupid guy, not very intelligent. He was the leader of the small socialist party that was a part of the government, the social democratic government, led by Helle Thorning-Schmidt. And this guy here, he went to Paris with an organization called Friends of Syria. And Friends of Syria was, of course, a CIH organization financed by the United States and led by the United States. The idea was that they wanted to give weapons and money to the so-called democratic opposition in Syria. But you know, the democratic opposition in Syria, well, today it's just called ISIS. They gave all the weapons, all the money to the terrorists in Syria, the same terrorists who bombed Belgium and France and other countries since they got this money. So actually, Villy Søvndal has been participating in terrorist founding. He should put to jail, but he is not. He has drawn himself back, and now he's a farmer in the countryside in Denmark. And here we have Martin Lidegaard, another foreign minister from Denmark. He was only foreign minister for 6 months, but he had the time to go to Ukraine and talk to the right-wing government in Ukraine, the Nazis. He was a great admirer of the right-wing extremists in Ukraine and the war criminals in Ukraine who are having a war against the Russians living in Ukraine. Because, you know, the majority in Ukraine, they have a war going on against the minority in Ukraine. And the minority in Ukraine, they're Russians from Ukraine, Ukraine citizens. And Martin Lidegaard, he was a supporter of this war. And this guy here, his idea about democracy is that everyone must have the right to vote. except if they are Russians. So this is very logical, but you have to remember that the CIA bullhorns I'm presenting you for here, they're not intelligent people. They're very, very stupid and very, very immoral people doing exactly like their employers tell them to do. And maybe you remember the Nuremberg trial after the Second World War. All the generals of Hitler, all Hitler's commanders, they said, oh, we only did what we were told to do, so we are not responsible ourselves. And that's exactly the same as the CIA stooges here are saying. Here we have the present Danish Foreign Minister, Christian Jensen. He has the idea that he wants Denmark to be a part of the American missile defense. And he has said that this has nothing to do with Russia, and Russians should not care about that. Well, if that's the truth, if the missile defense is a defense against Iranian rockets, then why don't they want to place these rockets on Russian soil just close to Iran? This was the offer that the NATO leaders got from Vladimir Putin a few years back. But they said no. Why? Because this missile defense, of course, is a political and military initiative that has the purpose of neutralizing the Russian missile forces. You know, there is a balance in the world between Russia and America, and this balance will be destroyed if the missile defense, so-called missile defense, is put up, because that means that Russia is not able to throw missiles against USA. But USA, they have missile bases all around Russia, so they are able to throw missiles against Russia. That means US will control the whole world, including Russia. And that's exactly what the CIA stooge here wants. So, of course, he works to make a future when Denmark is some kind of military base directed against Russia. And here, last but not least, we have a journalist who writes in the right-wing paper Berlingske Tidende in Denmark. She is married to the Danish Ukraine ambassador in Kiev, and she has a very primitive idea of how the world is constructed. She has exactly the same idea as Uffe Ellemann-Jensen and other of the people I've shown you here. Everything what is wrong is because of Vladimir Putin. Actually, she believes that Vladimir Putin has invaded Ukraine. Well, it's very strange, but Ukraine, they have an embassy in Russia. In Russia, they have an embassy in Kiev. This must be the first time in world history where one power attacks another without drawing the ambassador back. Well, Anne Libak, you're just as stupid as you look. Russia has not invaded Ukraine, but there are Russians living in Ukraine and then don't want to be subordinated to the fascist junta ruling in Kiev. This junta wants Ukraine to be a part of the European Union, and I hope that will never happen, because Ukraine is a failed state. It's a criminal state, but of course your husband is employed in Ukraine, so you love Ukraine. I understand that. Well, I think I've mentioned the persons I wanted to mention. 7 dirty CIA bullhorns. I hope they will be gone in not a far time in the future, because the future looks real dark, real black, if people like the one I mentioned here is ruling Europe, is ruling my own country, Denmark, and turning Europe into a flaming fire of World War III. And that can happen. If it happens, you'll be killed. I'll be killed. Your family will be killed. My family will be killed. And we can all thank the people I've shown here on this little video. Thank you.